Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Let's go ahead and get into what's happening today with AMC stock and everything that you need to know. So, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section as well in the meantime. So, AMC, the options are now back trading. And I know some people reported that you could buy options, but most people could not, and Ortex was not picking up on this data. So it looks like, just safe assumption, the options were basically shut down the last 2 or 3 days of trading. Now you're seeing some buyers coming in. 69% positive order value today. 5 orders totaling $685,000. So the momentum in the options market looks like it is kind of flipped a little bit today. Now we have fallen a lot recently. You've fallen basically 20% back to back to back to back to back. And it's a little bit ridiculous at this point. So what's happening today? Well, AMC is not down 20%. It's down 3.5%, which is still down, but it's not to that same extent that we have been seeing recently. So this is positive, I would say. A lot of people are way too negative on AMC, and they are kind of making the opportunity for you. Let's be honest about it. When everyone is bearish, that's when you want to be bullish. When everyone is bullish, that's where you might want to take a step back and be a little bit constructive, or bearish, as they say. So, okay, that is kind of what's going on the last couple of days and what I expect to happen. Long story short, if you're unaware, I expect a very violent bounce when that bounce does ultimately come. And I think that's kind of important to keep in the back of your mind. We were just at $30, $40 on a split adjusted basis, or based on where pricing is today. You're at $13. Basically $14, $13.81. Your bounce could be huge, because let's think about this quite logically as well. Nothing has actually happened yet. Nothing has happened. You haven't seen any kind of dilution yet. You've gotten the conversion, which, you know, some people would argue that is a little bit of dilution, but in the grand scope of things, you haven't seen any dilution yet. And AMC is not going to dilute anytime soon. But we do have false numbers again from Ortex. Not a big shocker here. I'm sure it'll be messed up for a while. You have a live short interest of 9.26%. So keep in mind that the numbers are just going to be messed up for a while. You have 13.75 million shares that are estimated sold short by Ortex. Again, that's another messed up number. Even the cost to borrow fees. Cost to borrow average says 0 or not available. Cost to borrow max at 8.6%. Cost to borrow minimum at 8.6%. Guys, Interactive Brokers today is at 9, or basically 1,000% was the first reading. And now you're at about 740%. So you're not nearly where Ortex estimates are. So things are going to be wonky and messed up for probably a couple more days, I would imagine, at the very least. Now, AMC is indeed still on the threshold securities list. There's been a lot of manipulation, a lot of fraud, a lot of corruption. We already know how these things go. That's been happening. And that's why you have the FTD numbers so high like you do. Let's go ahead and refresh this just so we get the most up-to-date numbers. Today is August 25th. So you're going to have about 12.1 million FTDs that do come due here today. And then starting off next week, you're going to have 11.5 million. That ramps down to 8.4 million, back down to 7.5 million, down to 6.8 million, and then back up to 7.1 million, and then back up to 7.7 million the week after that. So there is multiple millions of FTDs that come due basically every single day. This is a running aggregate number. So in theory, today versus yesterday, you had about 800,000 FTDs that got added that potentially could be closed out of today. So I do think the rush is on for hedge funds and institutions to actually close out some of those positions. Let's take a look at the Stock Tracker data if it's live again, and it does not look like it is. Couple numbers for next week for September 1st. You do have 141,000 calls. It says currently in the money. I imagine that's out of the money. This is not split adjusted. Puts out the money at 340,000. I imagine that's the number that is currently in the money. So there's been a lot of negative pressure from hedge funds and institutions around shorting AMC recently. We know that short interest is going to be in between 35 and 45% based off of my estimates and analysis of the data and volume that we have seen on AMC stock at the last couple of days. So I would argue the short squeeze aspects of AMC are at the highest, most squeezable levels that we have been at in the entirety of this trade. And I would also argue that all of the bearish positioning in options, well, that could be flipped pretty quickly. And if that does get flipped at any point over the next, coming days or weeks, that's going to give you a very violent move to the upside. Now, let's go ahead and talk about what's happening on the day today as well. So, we had Fed Jerome Powell. Nothing happened here. This was a nothing burger. Fed Jerome Powell calls inflation too high and warrants that we are prepared to raise rates further. While acknowledging that progress has been made, the central bank leader said inflation is still well above where policymakers feel comfortable. The speech resembled remarks Powell made last year at Jackson Hole, during which he warned that some pain was likely as the Fed continued its efforts to pull runaway inflation back down to its 2% goal. A strong economy and declaring inflation also give decelerating inflation also give the Fed room to proceed carefully at upcoming meetings. Actually, Fed Harker is the one that gave the markets the bounce from the lows when we were selling off. And he was the one that basically was saying, we're probably not going to raise rates again. We're probably going to keep rates at where they are. And this is good, basically what we're seeing. So nothing burger, nothing happened here, nothing to see here. Fed Jerome Powell, just another day for the markets. There's really nothing you can hold your hat on that was different from what we have heard before. So there is that. As far as what it's doing to the bond yields, 10-year Treasury yields did jump initially in the trading day. Now they are coming back down, and they are unchanged from yesterday's point on the 10-year Treasury. At least the 2-year Treasury is up 4 basis points today, almost breaking out to a new high of this cycle. This is dependent on kind of Fed policy more than anything else. So that is going higher a little bit and interpreting maybe higher rates for longer. Now, if we look at the Fed Funds Monitor tool, September 20th, the probability of a rate hike actually went up to 21%. Yesterday, this was at 19%. So pretty interesting what we're seeing there. And then let's go out and see for May. Wow, for May, we're expecting a hold still. Yesterday, you were expecting your first rate cut in May. Now June is when we're expecting the first rate cut. So wow, that is an interesting development here. Markets are actually responding pretty dang well compared to the moves we're seeing with the Fed futures. So that is a little bit strange and a little bit different. AMC stock at the time of recording this video is falling a little bit, now down 4.5%. I think this is good. Let's call it that. After the last 4 days that we have seen of selling pressure, down 24%, down 18.27%, down 12.89%, down 4.8%. These are split adjusted prices, right? Or down 26.68%. Like, it's been back to back, just bloodshed for AMC. 4.5% drop, I'll take it. But I would expect a lot of volatility too. This is not certain. AMC stock could close green by quite a bit. AMC could fall even more. Nothing is certain until we actually get the trading day closing. So, when that bounce does, I expect it to be very aggressive. But it's hard to tell exactly when that will happen, obviously. Now, let's look at the 3-year and 10-year yield curve inversion. That is inverted 1.35%, falling a little bit from where we just were inverted of 1.23%. You actually get the pain when this uninverts. So you've started to uninvert recently. Markets have started to fall. If this does start to go down again, it could mean markets will start to go up again. Simple as that. Sounds pretty simple. It is pretty simple. So you're seeing this go down. Probably means the markets are due for a bounce from here. Markets have been choppy as of recently. That has not helped AMC as well, given the markets, the S&P 500 itself has dropped about 5% from the highs. Not a great thing to happen for AMC. You could make the argument that if hedge funds long portfolios do fall, it puts pressure on hedge funds and institutions to actually close out some of their short positions. I don't think we need that pressure on the hedge funds and institutions. If they've been short in AMC, their cost to borrow fees are eating them alive, and they are still unprofitable on the average or the majority of their hedge fund and institutional short trades in AMC. So the pressure we have seen in the markets, algorithmically speaking, has probably been a reason why AMC has also been falling as of recently. But I think the long story short is everyone is far too negative on AMC. This creates your opportunity if you are gutsy enough to take it. And I don't think the stock is going to keep going down. A lot of people think the stock is literally going to zero. That's what we're thinking, right? That's what a lot of people are thinking. The stock was just $30, $40, $50 2 weeks ago on this split adjusted pricing. So you're at 13 now. You've massively de-risked the situation. If you are long and you wanted to buy the dip, not a bad time to do so in my personal opinion. If you are long and you wanted to buy some calls as well, fantastic time to do so in my personal opinion, and that's exactly what I plan on doing. So if you guys want to come trade with me live in real time every time I make a trade, link down below in the description of this video. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.